The big three consists of your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign. Your sun sign is whichever sign the sun was in the moment you were born. The sun stays in each zodiac sign for an entire month. This is the sign that people talk about whenever they ask someone what their zodiac sign is. Unless you were born on a cusp, you do not need to generate your whole birth chart to know what your sun sign is. To know what your sun sign is, just simply look up your date of birth. As a matter of fact, here you go. The sun in astrology represents one's general core characteristics. It's the essence that you emit on a day-to-day basis. So even though you also have other characteristics and influences derived from your other birth chart placements, at the end of the day, a big part of your identity comes from your sun sign. Your moon sign is whichever sign the moon was in the moment you were born. The moon stays in each zodiac sign typically 2 to 2.5 days a month. Now, because of that, it would help if you were to generate your whole birth chart to know what your moon sign is. To pull up your birth chart, you need to enter your exact date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth. The moon in astrology represents our emotional and vulnerable side. Depending on the sign it's in, it shows us how we process our feelings, and it also shows us how we express our concerns and worries, and it also shows what we want and need for emotional comfort. Your rising sign, also known as your ascendant, is nothing of a physical placement like the sun, the moon, or any of the planets. Your rising sign is simply the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the time of your birth. One's rising sign will always be located right here in this area of the birth chart. You will never find it anywhere else. The time in which the ascendant changes is unpredictable. Ignore the websites that say it changes every 2 hours. That is not true. So many sources will also say different answers as to how long certain signs will stick around in that area for. That is why I cannot stress enough how important it is to input your correct birth information when generating your chart, especially your time of birth. Moving on. The ascendant in astrology represents the outer personality. It represents our attitude, the way we come off to others, how we view the world around us, and it even helps give influence over our physical appearance. Astrologers often say your rising sign is the most influential of your big three because of those representations. That's why it's also recommended when reading weekly, monthly, and yearly astrology predictions that you check out the ones for your rising sign rather than your sun sign. However, this does not apply to everybody. Everybody is different when it comes to what they're influenced by more in their chart. So just observe and experiment. So there you have it. That is what we call the big three. To conclude this message, it is important to know and to understand that you will definitely not incorporate every single trait of the signs in your big three. It is not expected of you to possess every trait. We are all influenced by many different factors in our chart. So not all Pisces suns will be sensitive, not all Aries moons will be hot-headed, and not all Leo risings will be self-centered. With all of that in mind, let us all light a candle and enjoy the rest of the video. One of my many interruptions during this video. Say hi! If you were born between June 21st through July 22nd, congrats, you are a crab. Or as we professionally call them, a Cancer. More specifically, a Cancer sun. Simple keywords in describing these hermits are hospitable, nurturing, defensive, instinctual, and touchy. Just like Aries, Cancer is also a cardinal sign. And once again, cardinal signs are signs that tend to take the initiative to things, whether it be conversations, plans, or projects. They are the kickstarters of the zodiac. Only difference between the two is that Aries is a fire cardinal while Cancer is a water cardinal. Fire cardinal energy brings about impulsivity and hyperactivity when diving into things, while water cardinal energy brings about someone that takes on a more careful and gentler approach. Cancers have been labeled as the most sensitive of the zodiac, although for some people that might need to be up for debate, but they are indeed sensitive. Their go-to accessories are a box of tissues and a nice warm blanket to hide under. They take everything to heart and they get offended pretty easily. Say you were to give them some constructive criticism, they're going to take that as a personal attack and may act passive-aggressive towards you for a while. They can also be very guarded. Nothing extreme like the level of a Scorpio, but they do eventually pop out of their shells and will warm themselves back up to you. And that's what's so contradicting about them. They will need so much space when they feel so pissed off and vulnerable. Yet once they feel mellowed out and fine, they don't want to be alone anymore. They don't like it. So they'll go from being crabby abbeys to kind-hearted sweethearts. It's just all too fluctuating. Another major thing with Cancers is that they are very close to their families. This doesn't only have to be tied in with who they're related to. If you have been very close friends with a Cancer for a pretty long time, I guarantee your family has already welcomed them in as if they were one of their own. They can even be the type of person that spends more time with their family than they do with their friends. It's also more of a security thing, as that is the space that they feel most protected in. Now let's talk about when someone's moon is in Cancer. I would say maternal energy is strong in this position. Cancer is often associated with the mother, and it's ruled by the moon, which is associated with general feminine energy. So, in this placement, that energy is amplified. Maternal bonding is also magnified here. If you follow me on my other social pages, or just know me personally, you know that I am a big fan of Taylor Swift. So for this bit, I am going to be using her as an example, as she is a Cancerian moon. It's a known fact that she is extremely close with her mom. Her mom is her best friend, and she even has some songs that are dedicated to her. And wherever it was that she had to travel to, her mom would come with her and support her wherever they went in the whole entirety of her career. So, lots of motherly influences here. Cancer moons also care so much about the well-being of other people. These guys will ridiculously put themselves last. It doesn't matter if it's something small, they will drop everything it is that they're doing and ask, "What's wrong? How can I help?" So even though they can be moody here and there, they will fuss over you a lot. They will turn into mother hen themselves. Because they are the sign of the crab, they appear as though they have this hard outer shell. They appear as if they can handle anything and not be bothered by it. But really, they are pretty thin-skinned. They will either appear as though everything is fine, that whatever it is that you said to them did not offend them at all. But once they are alone, or with people that they can trust, that's when all the tears come pouring out. Or they will flat out lash out at the person that they feel as though is causing them to feel hurt. Then afterwards, they'll go to some place they feel safe and secure at, typically their home, soak up all that they are feeling, and will just need tons of alone time. Thankfully, they are pretty artsy and creative individuals. So they will take everything that they are feeling and pour it all out on a piece of paper or on a canvas. Now let's talk about when someone has a Cancer rising. Your rising sign is what helps show you your chart ruler. A chart ruler, or rulers, show us the theme or themes that reoccur most often in our lives. And those themes could be romance, could be career opportunities, could be community, could be home life, etc. Your chart ruler is based on what your rising sign's ruling planet is. So in that case, people who are a Cancer rising have the moon as their chart ruler, meaning the energies that come from the moon help play part of a vital role in that person's life. There's more to it than that when it comes to chart rulers, but for now we are keeping it simple. Also, I am very well aware that the moon is not a planet. I took 2nd grade. But in the realm of astrology, the sun and moon are grouped in with the planets for convenience sake. So if you hear people talk about the planets in astrology, like let's say, oh well, the planets in my birth chart or the planets in this person's birth chart and whatever, they are also grouping in the sun and the moon. So, moving on. These guys are very intuitive. Even though nothing in particular has happened yet, they feel as though something is about to come up soon. They feel it within their gut. They always rely on their instincts. They are also ones to soak up tons of energy. This is another reason why they will retreat, but nothing out of frustration towards anybody. They just need some time to cool down before they go back out into the world with a fresh and clear mind. So they would appreciate it very much if you could understand that they sometimes need that time away for themselves. These guys are more so about the past than they are with the future. It has more so to do with the fact that they still have an opened emotional wound that they are still hurt from that occurred from a past close relationship. Whether it be from a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even from a relative. Again, nothing intense like a Scorpio, but they still may act a bit combative about it. They are not the type to just brush things off easily. They are the type of people that will cling on to the things that are bothering them, even if something has been dead and buried long ago. The final thing I will mention about a Cancer rising is their physical appearance. As I've mentioned in my introduction, one of the things that the ascendant helps give influence over is the way that we look. And of course, depending on the individual, this may or may not pertain to them. However, if you don't have a Cancer rising, but have Cancer as your sun or as your moon, then some of these physical traits could still pertain to you. These distinct physical traits include a full body shape, a face that appears to be very circular with eyebrows that appear to be very prominent, as well as having dazzling eyes and full lips. And that concludes this video on the big 3 placements for Cancer. If any of you guys have Cancer in any of your big 3 placements, please comment down below. And once again, I thank you all so much for the views, the likes, the follows, everything. The support means a lot to me. My next video, in which I'm going to be going over the big 3 placements for Leo, will be out soon. And of course, you can reach me on Instagram at snappycappy7, and you can also reach my astrology page on Twitter at 7snappy. Be sure to like, be sure to share, and until then, take care.